Hello, my name is Erica Wright, and this TED Ed video is going to be on using blended learning in elementary reading instruction. So before we begin, here is our purpose. As you can see, we will be identifying an issue in reading instruction across America. We will be introducing blended learning as a model of instruction and emphasizing successes with this model of instruction with early literacy education. So there is an extreme need for change based on statistics. The 2015 National Report Card showed that only 36% of our fourth grade students scored at or above a proficiency level. And this was on the NAEP assessment. 34% of those students lack basic reading skills. So that is very alarming. Approximately 90% of students who are English learners scored below reading proficiency as well. So that's almost all of the EL students. And then we know that when students fail to read proficiently as they get to the end of their elementary school career, they often face a lot of struggles later on in life, especially throughout their later years of schooling and even into their adult years. So if these facts hit home for you, if you've heard them before, or if you're feeling that frustration in your own classroom, please know that you are not alone. So we are going to meet someone who feels the exact same way. This is Miss W. Say hello. Like you, Miss W is an elementary education teacher. Specifically, she teaches reading. Now, as a reading teacher, Miss W has encountered a huge problem. She struggles with making sure all of her students' reading needs are met, as she has various learners at many different levels. She often asks herself, how can I keep them engaged and meet all of their individual needs? Ugh, so frustrating to her for many reasons, as you can see on the screen. She knows that something has to change. It's just too much. There has to be a better way. Until she discovers blended learning. That's right, blended learning has solved all of those problems for Mrs. W. How does blended learning solve these problems, you may ask? Well, let's see. For one, her students are able to work independently or in groups, working on tasks that meet their needs. She gets real-time data on how they are progressing, and it's so flexible for Mrs. W. But wait, what was blended learning? As you can see, blended learning combines aspects of teacher-led instruction with the use of digital technology to provide a more individualized experience. But what about your struggling readers? They can't do a lot on their own. Well, listen, that's totally okay, because here are some benefits of blended learning. So one of the best things about blended learning is students have a lot of control over how fast or what content they are utilizing. It also provides an opportunity for our at-risk learners to feel a little bit more productive in their learning. Wow, look how happy Mrs. W is after discovering blended learning. What's that you say? You want to be like Mrs. W? Well, let's learn a little bit more about blended learning. All right, so you have met Mrs. W and you have seen her struggle. So if you are feeling the same way Mrs. is feeling, let's get to some more about blended learning. So here are some blended learning models. Blended learning can take a lot of different looks The rotation or the station rotation model is one that most elementary teachers utilize because it is very familiar to your activity centers. Flipped classroom is also another one that we will get into in a few minutes. Lab rotation is where you actually take your entire class and you use a computer lab and all of the students are engaged in blended learning. And that one has a lot higher of a technology use. So for your station rotation, just as your students would usually rotate if you use the balanced literacy or guided reading approach with small groups, one of the groups may be a face-to-face center, but another group may be technology where they are utilizing an adaptive program such as Core5 or iReady or Amplify, and they are doing lessons that are targeted specifically based on their data for what they need. And once students are completing those lessons, when they come to you, you are then enriching that or you are remediating that and taking it a step further. So you and the technology program are working together simultaneously. In a flipped classroom model, it takes off a lot of that first-hand learning. In flipped classroom, a student goes and does a lot of the learning at home. They may watch a YouTube video or something of the sort that allows them to learn the concept. And then they come in with an exit ticket. Maybe they did an interactive notebook or took notes. And then you're able to focus more on the guided practice and taking it a little bit deeper. So those are two models of blended learning that are pretty successful and popular in elementary classrooms. So Macaruso does a lot of research about blended learning and literacy, and he has found that blended learning has a lot of successes with EL students and tier 2 and tier 3 students who have a lot of gaps. Because the differentiation is so strong, he actually found that in a fully blended model of reading instruction, when it was used as a response to intervention, it gave students a gain of 13.7 points. He also found that it was productive in upper grades as well as lower grades. So 3 through 5 also gained a lot of success with blended learning. Lastly, Prescott in 2018 found that students in a Title I school made great progress over a 2-year study that she conducted that showed that students who were in tier 2 were eventually moved out of tier 2 and were able to catch up with their academic gains through blended learning. So there's a lot of research out there. There are a lot of different strategies. So please, I hope that you have learned a lot about blended learning and you're ready to try this in your classroom. Please continue on in my TED Ed to find a little bit more information. Thank you.